Good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to have Dr. M V Muraleedharan, sir. He's a professor of endocrinology. He's based in Trichur. Welcome, sir. Sir is the past president of the Endocrine Society of India. We are celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Endocrine Society of India. And it is my proud privilege to interview one of the senior most endocrinologists in Kerala and moreover, a respected clinician also. Sir, welcome, sir, to this initiative. First of all, let me ask you a question. The general interesting thing that happened during your presidency tenure.
In fact, I took over as president in the Tirupati meeting. And if my memory is correct, I thought it was in 2004. The society had a lot of problems. It was not as rich as it is now. The pharma support was not as easy to get at that time. There were communication issues. Even the midterm meetings or other meetings could not be conducted at that time because of many reasons, which include money, transportation, communication, and organization. And most of the time, because the society was in its growing stage, a lot of issues were there regarding the management of finances of the society, who should keep what fund that is available so that it can be used to the best of the advantage of the society. Even at that time, an attempt was made to go into the possibility of starting a journal, which of course could not be achieved during that period of time when I was working as the president. Only thing is we could carry the message over to the next group of office bearers.
Okay. So the idea was to start a journal was initiated, but of course the concept was finally materialized later on.
Much later, at most it took I think another 6 years or so, because our journal now is around 10 years old.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes.
running in
IJEM, Indian Journal of Endocrinology.
So these were the main issues which I had. Okay. But because the answer is my achievement or whatever I could do was very limited, I spent it.
Yeah, but I think the thoughts were actually very fruitful because the process is a gradual thing, but the tenure of yours was eventful in that sense that you were able to provide the nourishment, an idea for the next people to take over. So.
In fact, the finances were sorted out in a year or two around then. Because there are many people who wanted the society finances to be very transparent and its handling was to be correctly done.
So it was minuted and finally it materialized, sir.
Yes, we succeeded in the next year, or I think by 2005 or 2006, it is all finalized what the society has and where the money is actually lying. That is one.
No, sir.
I would like to use this opportunity to go a little back into what has been happening in the society. Now we are started in the year 1971. So we are now doing the 50th year. Even at that time, the society was not independently functioning. It was actually a part of the API, which had a host of other organizations like a cardiological society, neurological society, gastro, hematology, rheumatology, nephrology, endocrinology. The first people to get a partition was cardiologists, followed by nephrology. When I joined, even at that time, the society was sharing the platform with the API. That is 1975, when I joined the DGA for my DM. And my first acquaintance with the endocrine group was in 1973. It was my first API meeting done at Udaipur. Incidentally, I happened to travel in the same second-class compartment with my would-be professor, Dastovi. He was also going to attend the same meeting. We traveled opposite. In the second class
some 2 years before joining DM, sir.
It was not a flight or a train which was going from Delhi to Udaipur. We have got now better communication. We have got a better rapport between the members. At that time, the membership was only around in 1975 when I joined DM. I was the fifth man to do the DM in India. See, there was no course in all the
institutes. Yes, not only PGI had it.
In 1980. So this was a state of affairs. So the total number of endocrinologists with the DM was only 5.
Yes, sir.
And when I joined, it was only 4. I joined, became a DM a year or so later. But now the membership has increased like anything. So many institutions which are offering DM course in endocrinology, the communications become better. The technology has changed.
Yes,
For
sir.
example, when we were doing the assay with the antibodies that we have produced, we have done the titration, made the standard curve, everything for every project we were doing. Now it is only interesting with the kit. It is the kit. Same thing is about writing a paper or
Yes.
sending a journal article. You have to go and sit in the library for weeks to complete an article because you have to take out the old volumes from each rack and write it down. Go first to the index, bibliographic index, chalk out this thing, then go to the journal section. You know, it was all
So now we can just see the keynote. You can take the article DOI. So just collate it. So technology has very much supported the research, sir.
and now the journal also has come.
Index
With that,
journals have come.
now going very well.
Yes, sir.
Only thing is the tempo has to be maintained by the
Yes, sir.
younger generation. So this is a little bit of sharing of the history, which
Yes,
also
sir.
may be, which
Yes,
I
sir.
happen to one link in the whole chain. It may not be very prominent, but some work was done during that period, and others were asked to carry on so that we will be able to get the fruitful events on a later.
True, sir. So, sir is also my.
In the 50s,
Yes, sir. Now we are actually growing through the power of our own members, and we have a lot of publications in our own journals. So it's a very, very good concept that having our own journal. Yes, sir.
I will go.
Family friend also. I have the great fortune of working with sir. Sir was also my teacher, Amrita Institute. Sir is a very illustrious person and very jovial as well. As you can see, sir has got a lot of knowledge spanning very decades. So, sir, what is the message that you want to give to the younger generation of endocrinologists, sir?
Younger generation of endocrinologists, they are sitting in a very high pedestal. But they should remember that you are working a country which is not that affluent to afford what you are likely to offer to them. As me, you also understand each hormone assay will cost at least 150 to 200 rupees, or some of them may cost even more. Each technique, whether it is scanning or whatever techniques that you are doing, they are all very costly. So that you have to use enormous amount of your clinical sense to narrow down the number of investigations, whether it is biochemical, hormonal assays, or any of the imaging services, starting from simple ultrasound to MRI, CT scan, MRI, PET scan, that way it goes. Not only the pulse of the patient,
Yes,
but
sir.
also look at the pressure of the person.
Correct, sir.
The treatment, you
Yes,
have to be very careful. For example, you ask a poor family that your son has got growth hormone deficiency, and he has to take growth hormone injections every day, at least until what is your expectation of his height, or he stops doing. So
Yes,
before
sir.
you tell that, you have to look into from where he is going to get that money.
Background and how he will be able to support the family. Yes.
People think, okay, the doctor is there, he got a very good injection. I'll take it for 6 months and I will leave it there.
Yes,
They
sir.
don't get it. They just
Very true, sir. Very true. You should consider many other factors besides your knowledge. We should also be accommodative of the patient's ability to manage it, sir.
Second thing, you also will be able to produce more quantity of research material in the present state. But I have got an advice. These researchers ought to be something which has got some implication in the day-to-day endocrine care. Don't look into the Western journals or other things, or you get a kick and until that time you do a very highly sophisticated work, after which you will also forget about it. Maybe you will be able to make a paper or two. That is not the purpose of research. Actual research in a country like India should be able how you can improve the patient care with your research. That should be in the mind of these people who are now taking endocrinology to the later years. Now, we are in a very good position to do it, and I want these people to apply those information the best of the society.
Okay, sir. So that's a very good message, sir. So really, I appreciate your time, sir. I really thank you from ESI perspective. I thank you for spending so much of knowledge and time and patience to address these questions, sir. So thank you for the kind listening, everybody. Thank you. Let us see you again. Namaste.